As a man thinks, so he is. Proverbs 23 verse 7. This verse got us all messed up, and today I'm going to show you how. Because understanding how this verse has been grossly misinterpreted by most people is the beginning of us taking control of our mind and our happiness. Hey friends, welcome back to my channel, and if you're new here, my name is Adedapo One. I'm a Nigerian-born entrepreneur based in the UK. On this channel, I share my journey on the road to $1 billion in fitness, finance, and mindset. Today, we'll be talking about a big part of what makes you happy, your thoughts. We're breaking down how you can take charge of it and become a happier and better version of yourself. So, Proverbs 23 verse 7, as a man thinks, so he is. I think for me, this verse is always meant you are your thoughts, more or less. And I was checking to see if I was the only one that had this interpretation. So I spoke to a couple of my friends who are Bible scholars as well, and this was their interpretation as well. And so this is very popular in the Bible sometimes, where words and verses in the Bible are taken out of context. What I would do in the preceding parts of this video is to give you the actual context of that Bible. But aside from the Bible, the idea of your thoughts are who you are is also made popular by a German philosopher called René Descartes. And he said, I think, therefore I am. And he said, I think it's in Latin as cogito ergo sum. I tried my best. So those are the two foundations for which we have been educated to think that we are indeed our thoughts. In the next part of this video, I'm going to show you how this is incorrect when you look at the context of the Bible and actually what the philosopher was referring to. Okay, so let's go ahead and actually read the part of the Bible that says this. Proverbs 23 verse 7. It says, for he thinketh in his heart, so is he. Eat and drink saith he to thee, but his heart is not with thee. First of all, King James Version is quite interesting Bible verse to read with all the deeds and the thinketh. Well, that aside, you can already tell that the complete part of this verse refers to someone that says eat and drink, but then they don't mean it. But let's read a different version to get more understanding. The New Living Translation says, verse 7, they are always thinking about how much it costs. Eat and drink, they say, but they don't mean it. So essentially, that part of the Bible never actually said that we are what we think. On the contrary, it more or less says that some people will interact with you, but their true intentions will not match their words. So they might be thinking one thing in their mind, but acting out something differently. That doesn't necessarily mean you are your thoughts. Make sense? So now, if we speak about the German philosopher, which says, René Descartes, which says, cogito, and I'll stop trying, which says, I think, therefore I am, what he was trying to prove was things that you cannot doubt their existence. And he was actually saying that because he thinks, it cannot doubt that he exists. So because you think you exist. So essentially he's saying you existing is a function, you thinking is a function of your existence. Not necessarily mean you thinking or what you think is you. So that's two different things, essentially. So it doesn't necessarily mean the same thing that people took it to mean. Neither does the Bible verse, Proverbs 23 verse 7, actually mean that you are your thoughts. Because when you mean to break that down, the kind of things that we think sometimes, how negative the thoughts can be, from anxiety to depression to just bad things as human beings can be, I can't be my thoughts. These thoughts sometimes are not that great, and that's why I'm breaking this down for us today. Because it's all good when our thoughts are good and when things are going well and when we've seen things that influence our thoughts positively. But imagine when the thoughts are not that great and your foundation understanding is that you are your thoughts. It leaves you paralyzed and helpless towards the things you think, the things you think. And for me, I went to a point where I had thoughts of inadequacy, like I wasn't enough, and I then began to act like my thoughts, because surely I am my thoughts. And this is why I'm sharing this today, to take us off that path of being powerless and helpless because we think anything that comes to our mind is indeed us, and giving us the power back to say, I got that thought, but that's not me. I'm beginning to act from a position of authority a position of power, and a position of control. So the understanding that you produce better results when you're in a better place really began to help me to, or really gave me this urge, I would say, to solve for happy. I then bumped into the podcast by Steve Bartlett and Mulga Gwandat, that's the word, Maud Gwandat. Very lovely podcast. I think I must have listened to it twice and then bought his book. His book, Solve for Happy, and the thoughts in this book and the ideas in this book, one of them in particular, more or less changed or moved me from a place of helplessness to a place of adequate control. And that's what I'm about to share with you today. The book is divided into three main parts: grand illusions, blind spots, and ultimate truths. And today we're going to focus on one of the grand illusions, which is the grand illusion of thought. And in the next couple of minutes, I'm going to share with you how some correction in perspectives can give you control of your thoughts. The first one is that you are not your thoughts, which brings me back to the first point I was trying to make in this video. And in the book, Mo proves it using two simple tests. The first one is a test of perception, and the second one is a test of permanence. In the test of perception, it describes this as a simple object and subject relationship. It says that if a subject is able to observe an object, then the subject is not the object they are observing. So if you are able to observe your thoughts, then surely you are not the thoughts you're observing. The second test is a test of permanence, and it pretty much is a question of continuity. It describes it in the way that if the quality or description that you're sent to yourself changes while you remain the same, then those qualities or descriptions are definitely not you. So looking at thoughts, for example, when we sleep, we cease to think, or we don't have thoughts for those hours we're asleep. When we just wake up, we're just going to gather our thoughts here and there. So it seems like our thoughts cease to exist for a period of time. But even in that period, we do not change. We do not stop to exist while we're sleeping and not having thoughts. Therefore, we cannot be our thoughts. The second point, in order to help demystify the mystery or the grand illusion of thought, is that the truth is I am, therefore I think, instead of what Renee said, which is I think, therefore I am. Because the former pretty much says that the thinking is as a function of me existing. Essentially, these thoughts are here to serve me, and these thoughts do not control me. I am not the thoughts. The thoughts are presented as suggestions from me to then decide. The last idea behind the grand illusion of thought is that you are the boss. You get to choose. So when these ideas are presented, when things pop up in your mind, you get to choose what you say yes to and what you say no to. You get to choose what you're allowed to dwell in your mind and what you just allow to pass by. You get to choose. And ultimately, an accumulation of your thoughts will determine where you end up in the future, but those thoughts themselves were never you, because you are the boss. And ultimately, an accumulation of how you react to your thoughts would determine possibly where you will in the future. But those thoughts themselves, without your actions towards them, were never you, because you are the boss and you are in control. Look, I picked up this book with the sole intention of getting me out of a very dark place. And quite frankly, I didn't need to finish the book. This idea of thoughts not being me has literally liberated me. I'm able to now separate the thoughts I think from my being, and that's how I spend. Knowing that I'm not my thoughts has been very relieving to say the least. I'm now able to question my thoughts and put them in the right categories, making me ultimately no longer a slave to the things I think or the way I feel. Now, when these thoughts come about, I'm pretty much telling my brain what is good and what is bad. I'm pretty much making sure that I'm telling my brain what I want more of and what I want less of as well. Pretty much taking myself through a process of consciously correcting old habits that are bad and retraining my brain. I found myself now in a position where I'm back in the gym, chasing my dreams, doing the things I love with those I love, as well as rebuilding good routine. Going through this process of trying to understand my thoughts has made me value one of the pillars of my money routine even more. This is the pillar of silence. And this is where I wake up in the morning and the first thing I do is do nothing but allow my thoughts to flow and some of them to come and go. I do this first thing in the morning before I take up my phone to make sure that I am analyzing the original thoughts clearly. And that brings us to the end of this video. If you found it useful in any way, don't forget to like and share with your friends. Also, if you haven't done so already, please do subscribe so you don't miss out on the next video where we're talking about how to build a life-changing money routine. Thank you so much. See you in the next one.